Good afternoon and thank you for watching Citizen TV. This is Citizen at 1 and my name is Michelle Morgan. Media freedom has been dealt a major blow after members of the National Assembly approved the memorandum from President Uhuru Kenyatta without including amendments agreed upon with the media fraternity. The memorandum on the media bill was approved after the Committee on Communications and Energy withdrew proposals for amendments agreed with the media after failing to garner the required 2/3 to overturn the President's memorandum. The heated debate during the consideration of the memorandum saw members of the opposition CORD walk out in protest after realizing that it would not be easy to raise the 233 MPs required to overturn the President's memorandum. There were only 140 MPs in the House at the time.
Of His Excellency the President on Clause 17 be approved. Honourable members, I put the question that the proposal, the recommendation of His Excellency on Clause 17 be approved. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of our country opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37.
Honourable members, I propose the recommendation of His Excellency the President on Clause 37 be approved. I put the question that the recommendation of His Excellency the President on clause number 37 be approved. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of our contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 39.
I propose the recommendation of His Excellency the President and clause 39 be approved. I put the question that the recommendation of His Excellency the President on clause 39 be approved. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of our contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 41. Huh? Clause 41.
Honourable members, I propose the recommendation of His Excellency the President on clause 41 be approved. I put the question that the recommendation of His Excellency the President on clause number 41 be approved. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover. I call upon the mover, leader of majority.
We will, of course, be joining our reporter, Francis Kashuri, who is at Parliament, for more details on that story a little bit later on in our bulletin. Now, the World Bank has released a donation of 400 million shillings to Siaya County in support of community-driven projects identified by the locals based on their capacity. The funds will be used to implement poverty reduction projects in the county that will run for 8 years. While signing the funding, Siaya County Governor Mr. Cornel Rasanga thanked the bank for their support and promised to deliver on identified projects.
Units are cleared after every 3 months.
Animal feed processing plant that is under.
As the country celebrates 50 years of independence, women members of Parliament held prayers to reflect on achievements realized in the country in terms of women representation. The current Parliament, comprising Senate and National Assembly, enjoys the highest number of women representation since independence. Deputy President's wife, Rachel Ruto, who was present during the prayers, challenged leaders to involve women in preaching peace and reconciliation among different communities. She was speaking during a Kenya National Women's Breakfast Prayer Day in Nairobi.
JM disappeared on the 2nd of March 1975, And it looks like on that day, which was a Sunday, there was also a very big explosion.
What was first treated as disappearance would turn out to be cold-blooded murder, as the body of J.M. Kariuki was found by a herdsboy dumped in a thicket in Ngong Forest with his fingers chopped off and eyes gouged out.
Sasa tukakaa tukimtafuta sasa mpaka tukasikia yeye yuko mochari.
J.M. Kariuki was a meticulous, astute politician.
His pet subject was, 10 millionaires amid 10 million Kenyans who went
beggars.
Yes, and he was very true to his conviction, and he meant well. I think what J.M. was saying, the message was this: that change the policies, get the poorest guy, hold his hand and let him come up. That was all he said, and he meant well. But then it cost him his life.
When a society is robbed some of its best sons and daughters of necessity, it is deprived the development that would have been engineered by those persons.
The cruel hand of injustice struck him down, brutally assassinating a brilliant son of Kenya, Josiah Mwangi Kariuki.
While it was easy for Kenyans to replace J.M. Kariuki, the politician, and move on, his then 11-year-old daughter became immersed in the mourning of her father, gone too soon.
I felt Kenyans had just moved on, and this terrible thing has happened to us, and nobody is looking and asking us, what help we need. And so I took my own journey to heal. It began by writing a book of my experiences, and that lifted the anger, the anticipation, and what else is going to happen, so that I could now move forward. I wrote the book, and I cried my last tears.
By the time of his death, J.M. was an assistant minister, whereas it is believed that his murder may have been orchestrated by State House operatives at the time. No one has ever been convicted. Closure for the family, 38 years later, is yet to come.
Na hiyo ndio mimi nasemaga, kama kuna watu walifanya hivyo, wawe open, waje kwetu watuambie ilifanyika hivi, tuta forgive.
Would J.M. be proud of Kenya if he were alive today?
Hata kama J.M. akifufuka leo, atakuja aone kuna shiji kubwa sana. Kama hii barabara ya kwenda Thika haikuwako, manyumba mingi haikuwako, maestate mingi kubwa haikuwako. Kwa hivyo imeendelea.
So bold was J.M. Kariuki that he would often be heard saying that every Kenyan man, woman and child is entitled to a decent and just living, that it is a birthright, it is not a privilege. He was a socialist who believed in a just and decent Kenya. His widow wants Kenyans to remember the sacrifices he made.
Mimi vile ningetaka J.M. akumbukwe naye ni kama kupewa kama huko Ngong pahali alitupwa, tupewe huko tujenge kitu ya makumbusho ya J.M. Tena ningetaka kama barabara moja atajwe tu tukimkumbuka kila mara.
I leave you with a quote from a contribution by J.M. in Parliament in 1963 when he warned about ignoring the youth, saying, "If we forget these people, the youth, we will find ourselves surrounded by rogues who are rogues not because they want to become rogues, but because they are hungry, and this leads them into temptation. The government should take action immediately before the situation goes from bad to worse."
Of course, as we mark 50 years of independence, it is important to recognize heroes fallen such as J.M. Kariuki. Now to our top story this hour, regarding the media bill. We're crossing over now to our senior reporter Francis Gashuri, who is at Parliament. Good afternoon, Francis. What can you tell us about the debate this morning in the National Assembly regarding the media bill, especially considering that the MPs committee withdrew the amendments agreed upon with the media?
Very well, Michelle, indeed. Good afternoon to you, but I don't think it's a very good afternoon for the media practitioners in this country, because Parliament has adopted the President's memorandum on the Kenya Information and Communication Amendment Bill of 2013 that the President had listed reasons why he declined to assent to the Kenya Information and Communication Amendment Bill as passed by the National Assembly. And it took a record 6 minutes for members of Parliament to pass that amendment, to adopt that memorandum, because first of all, there were no enough members of Parliament to countermand or to overturn the President's memorandum. It required at least 233 members to vote in support of a decision or a proposal to overrule the President and his memorandum. But at the time debate on this matter began, there were only 140 members in the National Assembly. So clearly, the numbers were not sufficient. But even then, when debate proper began on this matter, the committee of the whole House, chaired by the Member of Parliament for Nairobi County, or Women Representative for Nairobi County, Rachel Shebesh, decided to adopt all these all the proposals by the President in his memorandum, clearly indicating that the members just supported the memorandum as it was. So as it stands now, Michelle, is that the bill has left Parliament and will be transmitted to the President, complete with his proposed amendments, and he has about 7 days to assign it into law to become an act of Parliament. And if he does not even sign it, it will still be deemed to have been automatically turned into a law, because the matter is clearly out of Parliament as it stands now. But there was drama, Michelle, because members of Parliament from the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy CORD walked out en masse when they realized that there were attempts to postpone debate on this matter to a later date, so that the House can try and get the requisite numbers, at least 233, to debate this matter. Could not be achieved. And however, their walkout not helping much, because either way, as it stood, without 233 members, the bill or the President's memorandum was bound to pass, because the members of Parliament had two options: either to garner the 233 members to support a proposal to countermand the President's memorandum, or if they don't get the numbers, then a simple majority only a simple majority was required to adopt the President's memorandum, and the latter happened. So the bill as it stands now has taken the shape that the President had suggested in his memorandum, and this includes that if any media practitioner, specific journalist, found culpable of breach of the media code of conduct, they will be liable to a fine of a maximum of 500,000 shillings. And if a media house is found culpable of acting in contravention of the media ethics and code of conduct, will be liable to a fine of 20 million shillings. And of course, the proposed multimedia tribunal that had been proposed in the KICA bill, as it is known now, the Kenya Information and Communication Amendment Bill, will still be established. And of course, the stakeholders from the media industry will get an opportunity to participate in the formation of this KICA bill. However, media practitioners raising questions on the independence of the tribunal, and even the process of forming that tribunal, because to a large extent the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Information and Communication will have a strong hand on the formation of this tribunal that eventually will hear complaints raised against individual journalists and media houses in respect of the stories that are aired in various TV stations and radio stations and across the media, and the fines that have been specified. So as it stands now, Michelle, the bill goes back to the President with his suggested amendments, and he will only now have to sign it into law for it to take effect immediately. However, the deal that had been struck between the Energy Committee, the Parliamentary Energy Committee, and the Parliamentary Energy and Communications Committee and stakeholders in the media have now been shelved. They could not be effected because yesterday the chair of the Energy Committee withdrew those amendments that had been crafted as a result of discussions between the media industry stakeholders and the Energy Committee. And so today, members of Parliament were actually debating the President's memorandum as it left State House and came to Parliament. And what is the recourse for the members of the media? Two options. They can now move to court to challenge the constitutionality of the specific amendments that have been passed by Parliament as suggested by the President. And option two is for media practitioners to wait for 6 months, try and lobby the members of Parliament to bring an amendment after 6 months, and probably, hopefully by then, they will have raised the requisite numbers to come and amend the bill, amend the act, as then it will be to have the specific amendments that they had proposed during their deal with the Energy Committee passed. So basically for now, until about 6 months, if the court does not rule in the favor of the media practitioners, the members of the media, that is media owners, editors, reporters, journalists, and all those who are in the media industry will have to live with the consequences and the provisions of the act as it will leave the President's desk when he signs it into law. So basically, that's all for now. The Kika bill, as was known, has been passed, and so basically the matter is now with the President to sign it into law, and the bill, the act then takes effect immediately. And this includes specific penalties for practitioners in the media industry. So back to you, Michelle, as the members of the media continue pondering on the consequences of Parliament's decision this morning.
All right, thank you very much, Francis Gashuri, reporting live there from Parliament. Now, for the second day running, heavy fighting has been reported in Moyale as warring communities continue to engage each other in retaliatory attacks. So far, it is not known how many people have been injured in an attack earlier today. This comes even as the government says that it has deployed more troops to the area. Michael Njenga has the details.
9 a.m. Thursday, and the people of Moyale woke up to a heavy fighting as the renewed inter-communities clashes entered day 2. According to humanitarian organizations on the ground, the heavy fighting has barred them from reaching women and children who are most affected by the fighting communities. The area has been experiencing sporadic conflicts between the warring communities, but the situation has now gotten out of hand in the last 2 days, with over 10 people losing their lives.
The issue of Marsabit has never been anything other than the fight for resources. We are aware that a substantial part of the county, specifically the Boranas, feel they are not included in the county arrangement.
Currently, heavy gunfire has been reported in the area, though no casualties have been reported so far.
We have just dispatched a high-level team to really go and deal with that.
According to a statement sent to newsrooms by the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, police have so far arrested 20 looters who took advantage of the situation and recovered an assortment of goods. Meanwhile, the Pokot-Turkana clashes that had paralyzed transport to Turkana has ended after law enforcers cleared barricades erected on the Kapenguria-Lodwar highway. A total of 6 people have died in the clashes between the two communities. Leaders from the warring communities around the country have time and again been accused of fueling ethnic animosity in their respective areas and engaging in politics instead of preaching peace and unity among the communities.
Politics is irrelevant in this. It is the security of the county that is important to me. Regardless of the noises the leaders are making, as the security, we are coming to ensure and restore normalcy.
Kenyans have at the same time been asked to exercise vigilance and promptly report to the authorities any suspicious incidents that may compromise security within their areas. Michael Njenga, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Anxiety has gripped the police force over the looming vetting, which seeks to assess the suitability and competence of police officers. A report on police reforms released by Usalama Forum shows that the entire police service is currently suffering from a low morale arising from this anxiety affecting the provision of services. The report says, as a result, some police officers are now engaging in corruption and crime such as robbery, kidnappings and carjackings. The report shows that since 2011, police officers have engaged in a number of crimes.